Hello les amis, hello everybody. Je suis Naomi Kofi, interprète en langue ici, comme vous le savez. Alors aujourd'hui, notre interview va se faire en anglais parce que mon invité est anglophone. Ouais. So hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I have a special guest, so let's discover her. Hello dear.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Can you introduce yourself to my followers?
I'm Moreen Nambalirwa. I'm a sign language interpreter by profession from Uganda. Uganda is the part of Africa.
How do you become sign language interpreter? How did all of this start?
It started some years back when they introduced special needs education in Uganda. My aunt was one of the teachers who was chosen to go and study special needs education. So when she went, she really specialized in teaching blind children. And when she came back, she told me, Maureen, if Chambogo University advertises the course of sign language interpretation, please, you need to apply for that course. So when I completed my senior six, I had to apply for a diploma in sign language interpretation. So that's how my journey of interpretation started.
How do you feel?
I feel good. This is a unique profession, very unique, because not everyone can sign, not everyone can use this language. And I'm really proud of being a sign language interpreter.
Okay. And as I know, you are the chair of Uganda Sign Language Interpreters Association.
Yes, I am.
How do you proceed it and what are your objectives?
Okay, Uganda National Association of Sign Language Interpreters is an umbrella body that brings together all professional sign language interpreters in Uganda. So, one of the things that we do as the association, we make sure that sign language interpreters provide professional sign language interpretation services, good sign language interpretation services. We also create awareness about sign language interpretation services among the public and the private sectors. Yeah, people need to understand what are sign language interpreters, what are their roles, where to get them. But we also do advocacy. We do advocate for the employment of sign language interpreters, and then for their welfare. How are they going to be paid? What is their working environment? We also advocate for policies where sign language interpreters can benefit. But we also do research in collaboration with the Association of Deaf People in Uganda and then the Chambogo University. So this research focuses in the area of sign language interpreting and sign language in general. Briefly, so that is UNASLI.
Okay, yeah. Let me know where can we find the sign language interpreter in Uganda? In which area can we find sign language interpreters?
In Uganda, we have over 100 and we have over 100 districts, and if you need a sign language interpreter, you will get those interpreters.
What I want to say is that in which environment, for example,
The settings where they work.
Yeah.
Okay, so sign language interpreters in Uganda work in different settings. Yeah, we have very many interpreters working in the education setting. In secondary schools, they are there. Primary schools, they are there. In the universities, we have very many of them. They are there. So when it comes to NGOs or CSOs, we also have organizations that recruit sign language interpreters. We also have sign language interpreters in the private sector. They are there working. We have sign language interpreters in the media. Yeah, you see sign language interpreters on TV. Then in courts of law. Yeah, those are some of the areas where we find sign language
So
interpreters.
I want to know how many interpreters in Uganda.
You very well know that we have trained who are the professional sign language interpreters, but we also have other sign language interpreters who are not trained, but they are also doing the interpretation. So if we are talking about those who are trained and who are the members of the association, we have like 210 years. Yeah, but we also have very many who are undergoing the training at the universities.
Wow. So, for example, if deaf need to go to hospital, how this work?
So if a deaf person really wants to go to meet a doctor, as of now, it's the responsibility of a deaf person to look for his or her sign language interpreter. Then it's also his responsibility to pay for the services of a sign language interpreter. As of now, that is what is happening in Uganda. However, the Ministry of Health is planning to recruit sign language interpreters in the hospitals, and soon it will happen.
So, what about justice, police? Is the deaf person need to pay the fees?
So when it comes to justice, for Uganda police, we have like now 12 sign language interpreters.
12.
12. Yeah, they are trained police officers, but they are also trained sign language interpreters.
Great.
Yeah, they are there and they give out the service. Maybe the only challenge comes in the courts of law. Yeah, sometimes it becomes hard to find a sign language interpreter there. So the families of these deaf people have to look for sign language interpreters, and then they pay for the sign language interpreters.
The family pay.
Yeah, the family. But we have 2 courts that have recruited sign language interpreters as of now. Yeah, 2.
So that is free for
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, according to the training of sign language interpreters, you thought that you learn sign language at university. How that happens? The fact that in Uganda you have sign language education, sign language interpretation education in the university, because as we know, in Africa, we don't have university who train sign language interpretation, who, even if they have, there are few. So tell us about Uganda University.
So in Uganda, we also have one university that trains sign language interpreters, and it's called Chambogo University. So they started with the certificates some years back, and they used to do that training with the Association of Deaf People in Uganda. So afterwards, they started a diploma diploma course in sign language interpretation. So after completing your diploma, then you could go and do other course in another field. Because during those years, we never had a degree course. The reason as to why that happened is because the issue is human resource. You very well know that we have issues of we don't have enough sign language trainers in Africa, so it is a big challenge. However, Chamberlain University this year introduced a course in Master of Science in the Uganda Sign Language Interpreting and Translation. So we hope that when the first cohort is done, these are the people who will come back and train sign language interpreters at a bachelor's level. So the curriculum for the bachelor's has already been approved, and we hope in a space of 2 years it will be implemented. Yes.
So now, what are the profile, so the background of those who teach now currently in the university?
So for masters, when we have a professor, we have Dr. Sam Lutalo. He has a PhD, I think, in sign linguistics.
Okay.
Yeah, then we have other doctors at the university who are training the sign language interpreters.
So what can you tell to other countries who want to create sign language interpretation education in the country?
One of the things is I really want to encourage you. It is good to have professional sign language interpreters. It is very, very important, because what makes a profession is the training. You cannot say that you are a professional when you are not trained. So it is really very important that African countries that have not yet started these programs of training sign language interpreters, please try to visit countries that have this training, benchmark, and see how you can start these programs in your countries.
So don't you think that it needs policy? What is the role of policy?
The role of policy, the frameworks are also very, very important. Yes, very important, because in Uganda, after recognizing sign language in our constitution, that was the beginning of everything. Schools were built for these deaf children. We saw deaf people coming together to form the organizations. Then they also started serious advocacy. So, you cannot do advocacy without a law. Yeah. So a framework is very, very important when we are doing advocacy for some of these things.
So the sign language interpreters is to support deaf people.
Yes.
So what do you think can be the role of deaf people in that advocacy?
I think that deaf people have a very big role in advocacy, because they are the consumers of our services, meaning they need to lead. If they demand for a service, then the government can hear, the policymakers can hear, and then they can provide the services. Like an example of having sign language interpreters on TV. it was through advocacy. The deaf people in Uganda had to make noise. But this noise was also helped by a framework. So in the end, we saw government coming up and giving a directive to all these media houses to have sign language interpreters. So the deaf people have to be at the forefront when it comes to advocacy on the issue of sign language interpretation. Yeah.
So in Uganda, all TV stations have sign language interpreters.
Almost all of them. We have just a few, and the few ones that don't have sign language interpreters, these are some of the stations that don't have news. Yeah, but most of them at least have.
Okay, thank you very much, Maureen.
You're
It
welcome.
was a very interesting talk.
Yeah.
So, what is your last word for Senegalese, people, for African deaf, and also African interpreters, sign language interpreters?
Wow. To the sign language interpreters, I want to tell you that the future of this profession is bright. Please just do what is right. Go get the qualification. I know everything will be fine. To the deaf community in Africa, in Senegal, advocacy is the way to go. And it's not a one-day thing, but it is a continuous process. You need to speak every day, make noise. But also you need to make strategic noise. Yes.
So, what can you tell to our governments, African governments?
I want to thank African governments. It has not been an easy journey, but at least we are somewhere. So what I can say is that human rights is not based on numbers. The issue of saying how many are deaf people, what? No. A human right remains a human right. Whether someone is one, that human right has to be respected.
So, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very nice to meet you here in African Media Sign Language Interpreter. So tell us a bit about that conference before closing. Thank you.
The African Media Sign Language Interpreters Conference. This is a conference that has brought together sign language interpreters working on media, the broadcasters, the deaf community, the content creators, the government, to discuss and share experiences and learnings about media inclusivity. Yeah.
So, what are you taking? What can I say in English? What is your going home?
Parting shot.
Your parting shot. Please, I'm not English speaker. I come from French country. Please.
From the conference, I think this is the first time we have seen sign language interpreters working on media, sitting together with government, with the media, with the broadcasters, with the content creators to discuss issues about media inclusivity. So that is very, very important. Yeah. So
Thank you. I don't want to end this talk. It's so fruitful, it's so interesting, but we have to close.
yeah,
Now we are going home. I'm going back to Senegal. You also are
I'm going back to Uganda.
to Uganda.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for watching, for having me in Moreen.
Yeah.
And hello to Uganda's deaf people and sign language interpreters.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.